Welcome back to the Sharon Jones Show. Just sitting here talking with Pastor Garner on set, which is a book writer and so much more to him. So I want to greet you. How you doing?
Fine, thank you, ma'am. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you.
Great.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for having us.
Good. Thank you. The Eyes of the Watchman is the main thing that put me in contact with you. I heard about there's a guy that wrote a grand book and you need to interview him, Miss Sharon, and you were highly recommended by a young lady to me, and that gave some attention. And thank God for your assistant, your co-pastor, Mr. Rick. So we thank God for him. But the contact has been good also to change some things, my thoughts on some things that was inside of my head with you as far as starting to read your book. Because and I find it's quite interesting. I think every Christian needs one of these books. But anyway, can you tell the viewers hi?
Yes, ma'am. Hi. I appreciate being here today, and I'd just like to talk a little bit about what God had laid on my heart for the book and just kind of how it came about, because I get a lot of questions about that, because I have a unique walk in life. I've had it from childhood up, and as I've been growing through the ministry, God has been changing and tuning it, and so here I am, and I finally wrote the book. It was hard for me to write it to begin with because I've always been like in the tent ministries and things, a behind the scenes guy. So I would set the chairs up and I would, put the stakes in, and I would be the one praying with people and things like that. And God said, take all the experiences that you had throughout your life. I'm 53 now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, 53. And
Bless.
put it down in a book and get it out there, because it's time for people to know that these things are real and these things do exist. So it was a little struggle for me because I was used to being in the back. Now I'm in the front.
Yes.
And I'm preaching. I'm a pastor, and I travel. We're building a church in Guatemala, so we have mission works, and I'm in everywhere, doing all kind of things. So it's really good, but it's all for the glory and edification of the Father, not of man. And so that's, as long as I keep that in mind and keep doing it, then I keep going. But I'm used to, like I said, being behind, but now I'm in the front. So here I am with you.
That's a blessing. They say the last comes first.
Yes, thank you, ma'am.
So that's how your life just rotated into a new position.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure because of your humbleness and your faithfulness to the ministry and to the gospel, and that's why now you're on the front. And you can hold that.
Yes,
that's why you've been placed there. He won't put you nowhere that you shouldn't be. He does the elevations.
That's right.
And I'm excited to be on set with you today.
It's good work.
And I'm looking at your gear here.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you tell me a little bit about your shawl that you're wearing?
Yes, I'm kind of unique, so to speak. I'm a full gospel minister with a Jewish prayer shawl.
Okay.
So the way it came about was my wife and I had sent my dad, and my mother had passed away, and it's in the book. My dad remarried later on, and he was struggling still. And we sent him and his wife, Sadie, over to Israel for a 10-day tour. He's never been out of country.
Wow.
So we wanted to do something nice for him. So we sent him over there, and he was over there he actually baptized people in the Jordan River while he was there. Ooh. He baptized 20 in the Jordan River. They didn't have anybody to do it, and he was a minister, and they said, so he did.
Okay.
So while he was there, he bought 2 prayer shawls, that one I'm wearing and one my brother has, and they took them and blessed them at the Church of the Sepulchre on the slab where Jesus had laid, where they laid his body when they brought him down. Wow. Then he brought it back to me, and I'm like, this is a nice souvenir. Thank you, Dad. So I put it over on the shelf. And I have a gift of a prophet. I see things. God's always showed me things all my life. I see good, bad. I see demons. I see, angels, just all that kind of stuff, which we'll get into later. But when we got there, God told me, he said, come walk with me. So I went and walked, and then he said, kneel down. Then I kneeled down. He said, lift your hands. And I lifted my hands up to heaven. And then I saw an image of Jesus on the cross. And off his shoulders, a shawl fell into, and when I had my hands up, it landed in my hands. And I'm like, and he said, take my mantle upon you now and go forth. That's when I started to write the book and started moving to the front. Wow. So I had to know, I'm a know person. I had to know everything. So I got in the Word and I figured, I researched all the different pieces, the seed seat, what all each knot means. Like the blue cord means Jehovah God is one. Wow. This is actually called the seed seat. This is, you know, when Jesus said that the lady pressed through and touched the hem of his garment, yes. He didn't touch this hem, he touched this hem. The Greek word of hem is presbyton, this part right here. So when she touched that, that's when she was made whole. So anyway, so I learned all the different things, and because I need to know. So every time I do a work for God, whether it's preaching or going to a church or going out to a hospital or just being here with you, I wear it because God told me to, not to disrespect anybody, but to respect the Father.
Wow, that is nice.
That's where it came from. So that's
you know, it's such a biblical statement. And such a great biblical meaning, but it's definitely a fashion statement as well. Yes. So it's serving all the purposes.
Right, yeah, yeah. Well, yeah. So,
it's nice.
Thank you.
Do you ever take? Well, I'm sure you take a lot of pictures with it on as well.
I do, because I'm never out of it. No matter where we go, even if it's going down to a house where somebody's having trouble and they want us to come pray with them in their home, I have my prayer shawl because God told me, and I just have to do it. Sometimes people question me and ask me, you know, are you doing it just as show and things? Wow. But 99% of the time, people are always good with it. I've even met Jewish people who's came up to me, like at the Chicago Book Fair, and asked me why I was wearing it. And when I explained it to them, they shook my hand and said, bless you, it's good to see somebody wearing a traditional prayer shawl.
We're going to talk about that. I like that. We're going to talk about that right after we come back from commercial break. Keep it locked with the Josephs. We'll be back in a minute.